If you're not going to grow your own food, you need an advanced economy, and that's the power of marketing. Marketing allows you to buy things and get things that you don't have to grow or build yourself. In a subsistence economy, what you do is you consume what you grow. You plant the vegetables, you eat them. You make your shoes, you wear them. It's pretty much one-to-one. Whatever you can build is what you get. In an advanced economy, you can focus on one thing. You might grow apples, for example. Then you can take them to a market where there are other peoples that grew peaches or pears or made shoes, and you can exchange items and get a lot of things that you didn't have to make yourself. The way that happens is through the power of marketing. Without marketing, there's no advanced economy. There are 4 marketing must-haves, which are things that need to happen in order for there to be an advanced economy. The first one is that you have to have 2 or more people, and they have to want what the other one has. Somebody might have a product, like a smartphone. Somebody else has money. When they get to the market, they exchange the smartphone for the money. That's how the economy for an advanced situation works. The second thing they have to have is the ability to communicate with each other. If nobody knows about your product or your service, it's impossible for them to buy it. Therefore, there has to be the ability to communicate with each other. The number 3 must-have is freedom. You have to have the ability to choose to buy something or not buy it, or buy something from among 2 or 3 producers or not buy it. If there's only one choice and it's the only place you can get something, there's really little need for marketing. The 4th item is credibility. As a buyer, you have to believe that the product's going to stand up. It's not a piece of garbage. It will work the way it's supposed to work for the period of time that it's supposed to work that way. Without that, then there's hesitancy. It doesn't make sense to purchase that product because it doesn't have the credibility needed. Now, credibility is interesting, because there's a lot of different types of credibility. A simple way to think about this, and one of my favorites, is from an ancient Greek philosopher called Aristotle. And he said there are 3 types of credibility: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is your personal credibility, who you are. Have you had interactions with this company or this product? Have they been consistent? And if they've been good, then that's the type of personal credibility. Pathos is emotional credibility. It's feelings, like sympathy, to feel for. Empathy means to feel with. And so does somebody have any feelings when they're dealing with your product? And the whole part of branding and everything else we do is tied to that emotional connection. And then finally there's logos. And logos has 2 parts. The first part is it logical reasoning? Does it make sense? Is what the person or the company is saying, is that believable? But the second and even more powerful part of that word logos is the word, or the ability to define something. If I call something a ghetto, what happens? Who wants to buy property in a ghetto? That's a bad word. But if I call that same area a redevelopment zone, a better, more positive word, then it can change opinions about investing there. So what happens is, in product management and branding, we care a lot about naming, because the right name for a product or the right name for a company can often make or break that particular firm. A lot of people are wondering, well, once we get a market, how do we sell more? And frankly, a lot of that is tied to how easy it is for someone to get your goods or services, or to buy your goods or services. Think about in olden days, when they had basically cart paths or shipping lanes. They would fill a boat full of goods, they would travel somewhere, and they would trade. That's very different than today. We got steam engines a couple hundred years ago, and in the 1950s and 60s we got airplanes, and even in maybe the 1980s and 1990s we started with the international dissemination of brands, where other countries were having brands come to one or the other, and all of a sudden there was excitement and people wanted that. Think about even modern day, something like Amazon. How easy is it to pop on your phone for 2 seconds and reorder something, pay, and it shows up later that evening? The easier it is for someone to buy something, then the more marketing there is and the more advanced economy we will have. If you're in a retail environment, let's say I roll into a shopping center, a grocery store, or a Target, there's something there called a grocery cart. Where did that come from? And what is the purpose of that? Well, in Oklahoma City in the 1930s, there was an engineer named Sylvan Goldman, and he invented the shopping cart. In fact, this is a picture of one that I have in my house that my mom bought for me. As you can see, it's a couple baskets in a collapsible contraption. Nobody even knew how to use these when they first started because they were used to carrying a little basket around and they would buy whatever they could carry. Goldman thought if they could push around a little bit more, they would buy more. And thus, this is how marketing and product dissemination and all of this starts to happen in an advanced economy. You can go into a store and instead of carrying 5 or 6 items, you can carry several hundred pounds if you want to, loaded in your car. And that all happened because of the shopping cart. So as you can see, we have some options in the world. And we haven't always had marketing and we haven't always had an advanced economy. We've started out with subsistence. It means we consume what we grow. And if you want to do that by choice, that's pretty popular. Some people are doing that. That's a movement, living off the grid. But for everybody else, there's an advanced economy, which means we can talk with the person, we can interact, we have the free will. All of the things that are here allow for that advanced economy. So keep that in mind as we move forward and you think about how does product fit in the world and what do I need to do and how do I need to talk about it? It's going to be in that advanced economy.